Let's take a gentle introduction to automations and the automation dashboard panel, how to build new automations and how it all kind of fits together, and then we'll look at each of those steps in more detail. So these are automations that are currently in my demo account. The ones that have green lights are enabled, the ones that have red lights are disabled. So if you want it working, it needs to have a little green light by it. So these are my current automations that I have set up. So you can sort by different, whether they're active or inactive. You can also apply labels to things by dragging and dropping the automations. So if you wanted that one to be an induction automation, have that label, and then you could drag it over to there and it would appear underneath. Let's just go through creating a new one. The first thing you're offered is the Create Automation Recipes section, where you can see individual ideas of things that you may want to use. We'll look at that in more detail in a later lesson. For now, let's have a look at creating one from scratch. So we just pick this option, pick Create, and off we go. So the next screen you see is one which offers you the opportunity to decide how you trigger that automation, how it starts. There are loads of different triggers, and we'll look at some of those in more detail. You can have one, or so you can have none, to as many as you like within the limits of the ActiveCampaign system. So in this case, let's do it based on the fact that somebody has submitted a form. So we then pick which form. Now the choice here is whether it runs once or runs multiple times. This is based on the entry point. So if you have different entry points, this thing can be different, and the once on here doesn't mean once, it means once per entry point. So this basically means that if you sign up through that form and you pick once, you'll only get this automation triggered once for you. Whereas if you sign up multiple times and you've got that option ticked, it will then fire this automation again. So like I said, if you have multiple starting points, then it'll have different rules for each starting point. You can then decide to filter out some of the people as well by ticking here and then putting some conditions in. We'll just leave that as it is. And I'll leave that as run multiple times. So if they sign up several times for a lead magnet, I'm quite happy for them to have this automation again. So here we are within the drag and drop editor. So you can see our start options here. You can add in additional start options, so you can have different things triggering the same automation. If you want to add things in, you have two choices. You can click on that little plus, and then you can do something like notify somebody. Let's have a look. Send a message to me. And we'll just put a message in there. So that's going to send out a message. You can add in something else, so we might want to send an email. So let's create an email. We'll give it a name that's just used for you. And then it will go off and it will fire off the email editor. So you can go through and pick an email and work through creating one of those. I'm going to just click up here and go automation, back to your automation, so that it just leaves it as draft, and I'll come back to that later. So you can, the other things that are useful very quickly are something maybe like a wait, so you can wait for a day, or something like this where you can put in a condition. So we can say if that person has a tag, so tags you'll see later, they're ways of labeling people. So if they have that particular tag, it's sort of given us some default ones in there, then go one way, otherwise go another. So you can see it's created a little branch. All these things are drag and droppable. You can grab hold of it and move it around, and then you'll get an option to move things, either move that single action or to move everything that follows it, or to copy it. So we could copy, for example, and there we have another sending out of the same email. So that's the general kind of gist of how that works. Once you're done, you'll need to make it active, otherwise it won't fire. You also might want to click on there and give it a nice name. And then click Save. And that's it for creating your first simple automation. So we'll now go into it in a lot more detail.